Well, the dreaded confirmation is finally here. Disney is exiting physical home media in Australia. All the details right here. This is a pretty rare kind of on-camera video for my main channel. Anyway, these days I don't do a lot of these, but this is something I just kind of wanted to sit here and talk about for the next couple of minutes without, having to do too much editing or anything. It just made sense to kind of do it this way. If you've been following this, I guess, what is a developing story over this past week, you will have heard that, heard the rumor that Disney is pulling out of physical media distribution in Australia and New Zealand. This dropped earlier in the week. I think on Monday night, a post went out from one of our physical media retailers here in Australia, Sanity. They posted to their Facebook account that Disney were pulling out of physical home media, and if you want to get your Disney stuff, pick it up now while the stocks last. Of course, the physical media collecting community, the movie community, kind of went into a flurry over this. Numerous people trying to get confirmations from numerous different sources. I reached out to Disney on Tuesday morning. It might have even been Monday night. I reached out to Disney to try and get confirmation. I have a very good relationship with Disney, both in Australia and over in the US. And I thought, be a good chance to get some kind of confirmation from them. But it is now official. I have received confirmation from Disney that this story is in fact true. Disney are pulling out of physical media distribution in Australia and New Zealand. Now, what does that mean? That means, quite simply, Disney will no longer be releasing DVD, Blu-ray, 4K releases of their movies on the Australian and New Zealand market. Essentially effective immediately, there is a release scheduled for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in early August, in a couple of weeks' time from the moment that I'm publishing this video here. And that will be it. That will officially be the very last physical media release from Disney on the Australian market. It's just such a really weird thing to try and, I guess, even wrap your head around as a consumer and as someone who really appreciates being able to buy movies physically and wanting to support the local industry and the local kind of network of physical distribution and whatever, and just trying to process what this could mean. Once again, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, you will see pre-orders for that across pretty much every retailer that you will buy physical from, whether that be Sanity or JB Hi-Fi or Amazon, etc. There are pre-orders available. I would recommend, if you want to get your hands on that title, perhaps pre-order it, or at the very least, make sure you go out on release day or release week to pick that title up. I'm sure there will be a plethora of them printed and released to stores, but what this information does tell me is that there will be one print run of Guardians 3 before Disney jumps out, and that's it. So if you want to get your hands on that, I would recommend jumping on that immediately. This also does mean that The Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny, Elemental, Haunted Mansion, any future Disney releases will not get physical releases in Australia. As of right now, there is a physical release of The Little Mermaid announced for the US market. This does not affect that whatsoever. This does not affect international sales or releases. We'll get to that again just in a moment. But yeah, Guardians 3 will be the last one, and you will not be able to get Little Mermaid, Elemental, Indy 5, Haunted Mansion, or any future movies on physical in Australia. They will, however, go to Disney+. Now, Disney's reason for this is essentially the rising popularity of streaming, the rising popularity of Disney+. Hasn't been specified whether that's within Australia or just globally, and also the decline of physical media sales, particularly on the local market, but it is very much a global issue, I would say. But in particular, Disney Plus, people are really, on one hand, decisions like this push us towards streaming more so than maybe they would. So it really does push the consumer into a streaming model, even if they're not actively using it currently. So that it's kind of like a double-edged sword, I guess. But also, just people just aren't buying physical media. It's a very dying art form, particularly here in Australia. It's such a niche market, and that is really, I guess, Disney's reasoning for wanting to jump out of physical media. They are now saying that they are treating Disney Plus as the home for Disney home entertainment, for Disney classics and new release titles. So the only way, I guess, other than the physicals that you have in your collection right now for the Disney classics, the only way you'll be able to view them in future will be on Disney Plus. Only way you'll be able to watch new release movies in your home in Australia from Disney will be on Disney Plus, unless you decide to import some discs from overseas. Disney have confirmed that there will be no restrictions put on imports, so we're still free to import from overseas. Again, more on that just in a moment. But that's the bottom line right there. Disney is dropping out of physical media, and it's for all the reasons that we really expected. A few people have raised the question with me whether this will perhaps affect future retailer exclusives. Recently, JB Hi-Fi were the exclusive retailer for the newly released 4K remaster of the original animated Cinderella, Walt Disney's Cinderella, that just came out like 2 weeks ago. JB were the exclusive retailer for that. JB also carried 2 exclusive Mickey Mouse and Friends short film collections on DVD. They were released over in the States on Blu-ray. They were released here on DVD exclusively through JB Hi-Fi. A few people have asked me whether Disney will perhaps go forward continuing to release retailer exclusives, even though they've dropped out of it on a wider scale. And again, confirmation has come through to me that no, there will in fact not be any more retailer exclusives for any titles. This is it. This is quite literally the end game. Now, another question that I'm getting a lot of is what happens to the stuff that's currently on the shelves in stores or on the online inventory or whatever else? Are they just stores just going to stop selling Disney stuff altogether and throw out all the stock? Some people have been like insinuating that Disney is telling the stores to stop selling stuff, or that they have all the stores just have to send everything back straight away. Not true. Essentially, we just have to look at every single Disney title on the Australian market now as being out of print. There will be no more print runs of previously released titles. What is on the shelves or what is in Disney's current inventory is it. Once that is sold out, that is it. So essentially, Disney titles are still available in Australia while stocks last. A number of stores are doing clearance sales at the moment. I know JB Hi-Fi is doing like a buy two, get one free on a bunch of stuff, which includes Disney titles. There's, I think there's like a 4K deal on at the moment, but a lot of the Disney titles are in there. There's Blu-ray deals, whatever else. I think Big W is doing like 50% off Disney DVDs. Amazon has sales on Disney titles, so just look around. If there's anything you're after in particular, go out and get it right now while you still can. It is quite literally, while stocks last, everything is now officially out of print, effective immediately. There will never be any more print runs of these in Australia. So if there's any holes in your collection that you need to fill in, I would recommend get on that straight away while you still can. And again, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will come out. There'll be one print run of that, and once that is sold out, that is it for that title as well. And a few other people have asked me whether another distributor will perhaps pick up the Disney license, whether it be someone like Roadshow or Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. No confirmation has come through to me on that one just yet, but I would give that a big fat no, because Disney they hold their products very close to the vest, and I would not see Disney signing off a license, particularly for big blockbuster movies or new releases, to a competitor brand. They are simply not seeing the sales, and it's just not something that I think would be beneficial to them or any other retailer for that matter. Now, this absolutely is something that I've seen coming for a very long time. I had a discussion with Disney probably 2 or 3 years ago about physical media. For some reason or another, I had reached out to perhaps get a review copy of something, and they mentioned then that they were just kind of reassessing physical media in Australia. They were reassessing their sort of, I guess, physical media output. They were reassessing their physical media strategy within Australia. And from that moment, I kind of knew something was impending. So for the last couple of years, this has been something that I've really been expecting. And I think I had mentioned this information a little while ago in another video. So it is something that absolutely 100% I've been expecting. And this has not come to a shock. This has not come as a shock to me. It is disappointing. It's very sad when it actually finally comes to the end of it. So many collectors out here who are still buying these movies. They are still very popular. But it's a very heartbreaking thing. But again, it's expected. It's something that I've seen coming for a very long time. Australia has seen a huge hit in the physical media market, in particular the last, I guess, 1 to 2 years. And I work very closely with pretty much all of the physical media distributors here in Australia to do reviews and just, casually just help them out and, talk with them about certain things and whatever else. And I can assure you that there is not a single physical media retailer that has not been hit in the last, 1 to 2 years by this changing landscape. We have seen a number of physical media retailers close down recently. Kicks.com.au, which were the official storefront for Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment, even though they never quite advertised it as such. It was their storefront. They closed down. There were reports earlier in the year that Universal Sony Home Entertainment were in fact going to be pulling out of the local market altogether, just as Disney is. I have not heard anything official on this and again, I work with them very closely. They still have a very steady stream of releases coming out. So there's no confirmation on that just yet. Sanity, of course, recently closed all of their brick and mortar stores. They pulled out of Victoria years ago, but they were still regional stores, interstate stores, and they're all gone now. They're just an online presence. Easy DVD closed all their physical stores a number of years ago now, and they're online only. JB Hi-Fi has been scaling down their physical media sections. You can walk into a JB store and the physical section is about, depending on the store you go into, could be half the size, could be a quarter of the size that it used to be. Some JB Hi-Fi stores have removed their physical media sections altogether. Kmart dropped out of physical media a number of years ago. That used to be like the #1 place to go to get your DVDs back in the day if you weren't going like to Sanity or Easy DVD. Target, Big W have some stores have removed it altogether, other stores again scaled down, and you might just find like an end cap with promo titles or new release titles, but outside of that, pretty much nothing else. I've heard from numerous international people that they think, wow, I'm so shocked because Australia is such a thriving market for physical media. Look at all these amazing releases that are coming out from all these boutique labels. I mean, guys, there are a number of boutique labels in Australia that are releasing a number of like great limited edition, special edition, big box set things, special edition releases in slipcovers and hard boxes with booklets and merchandise, all that kind of stuff. Take note. These are distributors who never did these kind of releases in the past. In fact, we never got these kind of releases in Australia ever before. And the only reason they have reared their head is because these distributors have had to completely flip their strategy for physical media to stay in the game, to stay afloat. You'll realize, I'm not going to name any distributors by name, but some of these distributors that are pumping out these big releases are no longer releasing just kind of like individual single titles. They're all like special edition things. And that is exactly because they've had to flip their strategy and gear towards the market that actually is buying physical in Australia, and that's the collector's market. That's all of us. The general audience, they dropped out of this years ago. They're all streaming. The collector's bubble is small. This is a niche. It is such a small bubble of people. There may seem like so many people when you're online, but it's a bubble. And unfortunately, all of the distributors are feeling the hit right now, and it's really kind of upsetting. You'll also notice that a lot of these big releases that are coming from here, a lot of internationals buying them too, and in some respects, these releases are actually being geared towards the international buyers. And the international buyers are in some way helping our market keep afloat, which is just a kind of really odd thing to kind of think. Where do I see the future of physical in Australia? I think this is the beginning of an impending doom. I don't want to say I'm like a doomsday or you know, something like that, but I feel like Disney is such a huge player in the physical media landscape that this begins a domino effect. I think a number of the big studios will start pulling out, and once the big studios start pulling out, the smaller boutique labels, they might end up following. This might be a very slow process over the next few years, but we are going to see a huge shrink, particularly with a huge player like Disney dropping out. We're going to see a huge hit on physical media here in Australia. And I think globally we're going to see repercussions too. I've heard one source, someone posted on Twitter, allegedly an ex-Disney US PR agent, used to work in the home media department, and said that he has in fact heard that this is happening. This is a slow rollout that's happening in smaller markets and may affect, well, essentially will affect the US market eventually. It may even be a case that this is a small rollout across Disney. We have actually recently seen that Disney have pulled out of some of the kind of European markets. The Netherlands they pulled out of. They don't sell to Asia. They only sell, I think you can only get Disney movies in Japan now through like a secondary distributor. And the Disney releases in the UK have been a little bit rocky over the last few years as well. And yeah, this person inferred that Disney are going to be doing this slowly across smaller markets, and then eventually it could collapse, could be a global collapse of physical media. And again, a big player like Disney pulls out, everyone else follows. I am not going to throw any backlash towards Disney or any scorn or any ire or any anger or anything. This is a decision that I totally understand. This is such a shrinking market, and unfortunately, we've seen things that have been leading up to this over the last few years, and it's not a shock to me. And this is a business that has to. I mean, Disney are a business, and any business has to make a good business decision, whether we think it's a good decision or not. They've got to make the business decision: is this profitable for them? Is this a sector that's working for them? Are they making money on this? Are they losing money? Or whatever decisions have gone into this. If they're not selling these things, they can't keep distributing them. They can't keep selling them. On one hand, you kind of look at it that way. On the other hand, it is a little bit disappointed that you are essentially being pushed into streaming if you don't want to necessarily be streaming. There's all sorts of ways you can come at this, and there's going to be a lot of backlash. I understand that, but I simply can't sit here and do that because I understand. And again, working so closely with everyone in this physical media landscape here in Australia, it's something I've seen coming, and I totally understand this. Doesn't make it any more disappointing though. So what does this mean for Australian viewers? You all want to know how to get your hands on Disney titles going forward, importation, etc. That's going to be your best option. Disney are not placing restrictions on importation of any of their titles from overseas, so you can still go online and purchase them. My best suggestion would be to sign up for Amazon Prime if you're not already. A lot of people don't know that Amazon Prime Australia has a global store. You can import titles from Amazon US, Amazon UK, Amazon Japan, a number of other Amazons globally. And with the Amazon Prime account, you get free shipping. No matter it used to be, I think you had to spend $50 and you got free shipping from global store orders. But now, whatever order, no matter how big or small or whatever, is free shipping. You don't get taxed either. So there's, if you were to order directly from Amazon.com, you would have to pay the shipping. You would have to pay taxes and stuff like that. Or if you were to order from like Import CDs or Wow HD or something like that. Amazon Australia Prime global store is going to be your best way. Keep a wish list of stuff you want. This is what I do. And essentially, just keep your eye on the titles, and when they drop in price, go ahead and buy them. Disney releases have always been 100% region free in the US, so you can import them and you'll be able to play them on any Australian player. 4K discs, if you're talking about 4K are never region locked anyway, so you're free to import any 4Ks from any distributor. Essentially, I think some of the smaller boutiques might be locking them now, but the bigger studios, they do not lock their 4K discs. Every Disney release on Blu-ray is region free, unless it's like a subsidiary thing like the Studio Ghibli titles or something like that. But every like Disney proper release is region free. That's my suggestion to you, is keep your eye on Amazon Global Store, on Amazon Australia with a Prime account. You'll be able to get them maybe for $20, $30, which is a fairly reasonable price, I think. Just keep your eyes on them. They do, like for Prime Day recently, I picked up a bunch of 4Ks from the US for like $12 each. So they do go on special. You can get pretty good deals. Just keep your eye on them. Or if not, import from the UK through the global store as well. They are often a little bit cheaper, actually. So anyway, I think that's pretty much everything that I need to cover on this one right here. I've rambled for far too long as it is. If you've got any other questions, don't feel afraid to weigh in down below in the comments, and I'll answer them if I can, if I know. But right now, this is the confirmation that 100% confirmed by Disney. Disney are pulling out of physical home media here in Australia. It's a very sad day, but again, something that I've expected for a very, very long time. At that, I'd like you to weigh down in the comments below, how are you feeling about this as a physical media collector, whether that's in Australia or internationally? How are you feeling about Disney pulling out? And, you know, what do you think you're going to do going forward? It's a tough decision. But look, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.